Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today's topic is ER diagram. Today we will see entity, attributes, relationship, constraints and some guidelines and questions related to the ER diagram. ER diagram means entity relationship model. It's a diagram, something that connects entity and relationship. Entity. An entity is an object that exists and it is distinguishable from other objects. Example, a book, a person, a holiday. Entity have attributes like people have names, address, email, mobiles. Here the names and addresses are attributes of the entity. Now, what is entity set? Entity set is a same type that shares the same property. It's a combination of entities that holding same type and shares the same property like companies and trees. Entity is represented by rectangle in ER diagram. Attributes. Attributes is a descriptive property given by the members of an entity set. Entity Entity's description is known as attribute, like instructor having attributes id, name, street, city, salary. Like course have attributes course id, title, credits. A new term domain. Domain is a set of permitted values for each attribute. एट्रीब्यूट की रेंज क्या होती है उसे हम डोमेन कहते हैं. Now various types of attribute. Simple attribute that consist of a single atomic value. Example, salary. Which attribute has a single value, it's known as a simple attribute. Composite attribute value cannot atomic, means it has a multiple values, like name have a first name, middle name, last name. Single valued attribute that holds a single value. Example like city, customer id. Multi-valued attribute that holds multiple values of entity, like a phone number. Example, any person have a one or more mobile numbers, more email ids, several colleges degrees. That's known as a multi-valued attribute. Derived attribute, attribute that's values derived from a stored attribute, like age from birth of date, like monthly salary from the yearly salary. Here we will go with the example. Here employee is a entity. Here birth of days is a single value attribute. Here id is a single value attribute. Here age is a derived attribute. Phone number is a multi-valued attribute. Address is a composite attribute. Name is a composite attribute. And first name is a simple attribute. Relationship can be defined as an association among several entities. दो एंटिटीज के बीच में कैसे ज्वाइन होता है उसे हम रिलेशनशिप कहते हैं. हम इसे डायग्राम में रिप्रेजेंट कैसे करेंगे? बाय डायमंड between two entities and line connecting to the entity, we have to draw a diamond. Simple. Here is a symbol of relationship. हमें यहाँ पे नाम लिखना है रिलेशनशिप का. यहाँ पे हमने एक एग्जांपल लिया है, एक स्टूडेंट और बुक. उन दोनों के बीच में हमने रिलेशन किया है इश्यू. इसे हम इस तरह डायमंड से प्रेजेंट करेंगे और दोनों लाइन कनेक्ट करेंगे. अब टाइप्स ऑफ रिलेशनशिप. 1 to 1, one to many, many to many. We will go further for one to one. One instance in an entity refers to the one and only one instance in related childs, means one from set A is connected with one from set B. Here you can see A1 is connected to B1, only one to one. Here A2 is connected to B2. Here A3 is connected to B3. Here A4 is not connected to the one, anyone. Means at most one, not more than one. One to many relationship. One instance in an entity refers to one or more instance in the related entity. Here A1 is connected with B1 and B2. But B1 is only connected with A1 only. Here B2 is connected with A2 and A1 also. But A3 is connected with B3. So this is known as a one to many relationship. Many to many relationships. This relationship exists when one instance of the first entity can relate to the many instance of the second entity, and the one instance of the second entity can relate to the many instance of a first entity. Means A1 can connect to the B1, B3, B2, and here B1 can connect A1, A2, A3. This relationship represented by many to many relationship. Now we go further for the cardinality constraints. It's also known as a mapping constraints. We express cardinality constraints by drawing either a directed line signifying one or an undirected line signifying many between the relationship and entity. Here we go with example one to one relationship example. Here is instructor and student as entity and advisor as a relationship. Here is a relationship one to one, so we have draw arrow and put a one for one to one relationship. For one to n relationship, we have take example of customer and loan. It's borrow the loan. So customer is a one type and loan can be n type. So here is a relation of one to n. N to n relationship example, man who is married to the woman is known as a n to n example. We have to write n n, here no will arrow will come. Participation constraints. It specifies the participation of entity in a relationship set. There are two type of participation constraints, partial participation and total participation. Let's look at a partial participation. Some entities in a E participates in relationship R. It is indicated by single line. For calculation of census, we have taken the example man married to the woman. This is also partial participation. Now we go with the total participation. Every entity in the E participates in at least one relationship with R, indicated by double line. For marriage association, man married to the woman, it is total participation, means 100% people have taken the part in it. Now new concept, weak entity sets. The prerequisites is foreign key and primary key. What is weak entity set? The some entity have not sufficient attribute to form a primary key. It's called a weak entity set. It strongly depends upon the existence of a strong entity set. We will go to the representation. Weak entity set, it is indicated by double rectangle. And weak entity relationship is indicated by double diamond. The most crucial part of the weak entity set is a discriminator. Discriminator is a combination of two or more attributes. Weak entity set, so we cannot form primary key. So we create a primary key by combination of two or more attributes related to the strong key. It is represented by dashed line. Here we will show this in example. We have chosen two entities, course and section, related by section course. Here is many to many cardinality. Here course have a primary ID, course ID, but for section, section ID, semester and year. Here we cannot form a primary key, so we have combined three attributes, section ID, semester and year. So this known as a discriminator of a section which is strongly dependent on parent. Now starting to draw ER diagram. How to start? First off, we have all to define the entities, define relationship, add attribute to the entities and relationship if required, add cardinality to the relationship. Don't forget to use proper naming conversion and symbol representation. Now some guidelines to draw ER diagrams. Layout diagram with minimum line crossing. Place subject entity types on the top of the diagram. Place plural entity types below a single entity type and one-to-many relationship. Place entity types participating in one-to-one and many-to-many relationship along each others. So most relevant relationships, one name must be shown. Group closely related entity types when possible and keep the length of relationship line as short as possible. If you have any questions related to ER diagram, you can ask us in the comment section. This UX PPT is made by me, Devansh Mistry. You can Gmail me for any inquiry. I am a professional UX PPT maker. Thank you guys.